Hi, this is Dave and welcome to the Table, and today we're going to be taking a look at a project that's currently on Kickstarter called Train Heist from Tower Guard Games. Now this is a cooperative game for 2 to 4 players in which you take on the role of a cowboy in this band of men that are set on bringing justice to the West because we have a corrupt sheriff and his wealthy friends that are parading around in this train. Now, we're going to be working to loot that train and bring the spoils back to the neighboring towns that are in the county. And we're going to be having to do this in such a way that we keep ourselves from the end of the hangman's noose. Let's take a look at this game, how it's played, and I'll come back and I'll give you my thoughts. Alright, here I have Train Heist set up for 2 players, and I want to do a quick overview of the game and touch on a lot of the rules so that you can see how the game is played. But the first thing that I want to talk about here is the game board itself, because it's actually divided up into 2 different sections. We have the main map down here where all of the action is going to be taking place around the train, and up at the top here we have what's called the train map, which is going to be a close-up view of the action that's going to be taking place on the train itself. So at the setup of the game, a couple things that we've done. We have created an event deck. We have set that over here. We have placed our initial loot tokens on the train itself. We have the sheriff up here in this little starting space there. And we have placed the train on the board here, and there's some arrows that are on these trains that are going to be determining the direction that the train is moving. So this is the locomotive here, and this starts off outside of Town A, with the locomotive here facing in a counterclockwise direction with the rest of the train trailing behind it. We've got a couple of these railroad switch tokens here, which are going to have an effect on how the train is going to move during the game, and so it's set up, doesn't matter which way that they're facing, we just have to make sure that one is on the green side, one's on the red side. Other information here, we have this hangman's noose here, which is essentially a counter that if certain things are not met during the game, it's going to move down here, and if we end up down here, we're going to lose the game. And we have a train speed meter down here, which is going to determine how fast the train's going to move. And then over here, this train heist meter itself, what we're going to do is be able to set our initial goal. We can vary the difficulty of this game from easy all the way on up to hard. For the sake of this demo, I'm just going to put it here at 5. And then we have this other dial. It's going to move, and this is going to keep track of the number of heist points that we gain during the game. Other things, we have these wanted tokens set off to the side, or wanted cards actually, and what they are going to do is present some in-game goals that we will be able to try to achieve. And if we do, we take those cards and we flip them over and we gain a specific benefit for the rest of the game. We also get a little fun reputation that adds some flavor to the game. We also have some other pieces that are placed off to the side here. We have the loot sack here with the remaining loot tiles. We have these bullet tokens here, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and we have these Cherokee tokens as well. And most importantly here, we have these playing cards. And it is a deck of cards that's made up of 3 suits. We have revolvers, keyholes, and money sacks, and we also have some wild cards that are in there. And these are going to be used to do a number of various actions during the game. So they serve multiple purposes. So, and I'll get to that in the gameplay as well. So at the start of the game, each player is going to place their cowboy mini here in Crackpot Canyon, and we're also going to put horses out here depending upon the number of players. For 2 players, there will be 1 horse that's placed. For 3 or 4 players, a second horse will be added, and 2 of the cowboys can both be on 1 horse at the same time. That's then the other thing that's going to happen is with those playing cards, each player is going to be dealt a starting hand of 5 cards. And as you can see here, I have 3 money sacks and we have 2 keyholes. And it is in this game, it's cooperative, and so each player can look at any time and see other players' hands of cards, and so I just find it easier to just have the cards dealt face up, and so it's open information for all of the players. So that's just how the game is set up and the information that's on the game board. Let's get into how the game is played. Okay, to show you how Train Heist is played, I'm going to use a series of player turns going through the actions and starting to play the game and show you how different things work, how the different rules come into play. But the main goal here is that we are a group of cowboys that are bent on stealing back a bunch of items that the corrupt sheriff has taken. So it's kind of like this Robin Hood type thing. We're all working together against the nasty sheriff to take back things for the people who live in these various towns. So that's the whole goal here, and we want to make sure that we can do that before time runs out and we end up on the end of the hangman's noose. And so we're going to use these two players here to show you how this the game is played. The red player will be player number 1, the blue player, player number 2. And starting with the red player, on our turn we are going to make sure that we have 5 cards in our hand. We start off with 5, so we won't have to worry about that. And it's right here on the game board. It's very easy to follow along what we're going to do. So we're going to perform 4 heist actions or unlimited free actions in any order. So free actions that we can mount or dismount a horse. That doesn't cost us anything. And we can also discard cards from our hand in order to gain additional abilities here. So maybe like an additional heist action here, or a couple more, or being able to flip these track tokens here, or playing a wild card to move the sheriff 1 space. And so a lot of it's going to come down to the planning in this game and how we're going to execute a few things. And so it's going to be really important. So let's get into this here. Starting with the red player, he's going to move by foot, and that's one of the things that we can do is move by foot, and each space that we move is going to cost us 1 action point. So if we do that, that's going to be 1 action. Second action is going to move on to the train itself and actually board it. So as long as we're on the space there, is essentially like a standing here, and we have a decision to make then, which side of the train car are we going to board. And so if we look here, I have a choice. I can either go here or here, as noted by the enter and exit spaces on the board. We're going to go in on this side right here. So that's going to be our second action. Third action point is to move again here. And then the fourth one, we're going to loot the train. And so what's going to happen to loot the train, we are going to have to play cards from our hand in order to match the requirements for these passengers. So we have this one here requires 1 keyhole, 1 money bag, and the other one is going to be 2 keyholes and 2 money bags. Now it's possible that if we discard cards, that if we can match both requirements, we can take both loot items, which is what we're going to do. Because if I look at my hand of cards down here, I happen to have 3 money bags and 2 of these keyholes. And so what I'm going to do then is just discard those cards, and then what I will do is take those 2 loot tokens and I'll place them in front of me here. So I now have these in front of me. Now what's going to happen is I will not be able to do any more looting actions until I go to a town and drop them off. Now what the important thing is here to note is that we need to make sure that if this train is moving around, that there's going to be new loot that's going to go on the train in order for us to not slip down the hangman's noose. So anyways, I performed my 4 actions. I did 1 movement here, 2nd movement here, 3rd movement, and then the looting action. Now what's going to happen is that I can also choose to now discard any cards from my hand that I want. I'm going to hold on to this because this is I can do different things with this. And now what's going to happen is the train is going to move forward. And it's going to move 2 spaces right now. And so there's 2 different ways that we can move the train. We can move everything all together, or it's just easier just to go 1 and 2. And it's not really important for us to know what these minis look like. We have this map up here that's going to be able to tell us what each one is. Where more important is looking at the arrows there. So we moved forward our 2 spaces, and so what's going to happen now is going to be the blue player's turn. Now the blue player, he also has the option to perform any free actions, and he's going to choose to do one, and he's going to mount this horse. And so he is now on the horse. Horses can carry 2 riders, so he can actually go and pick up somebody, which is really good for planning. And the way that the horse is going to move is from our hand of cards, we will discard one of these cards, and whatever the number value is on there is the number of spaces they can move. So we'll do this, and we'll be able to move 5 spaces. We want to anticipate where do we want to be when this train is going to hit. And so let's move 5 spaces here. We'll go 1, 2, 3, I don't know where we're going to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll move over here and get on this side here. If we happen to end our turn sitting on the track and a train hits us, we essentially are going to lose a turn. So we're going to want to make sure that we avoid that. So that was basically our first action, was to be able to do that. And the next thing that we can do is dismount for free. And maybe we want to get on the train itself. Maybe try to lure the sheriff away. So what we're going to do then is second action here, move on to the train, and we're up near the locomotive, so we'll jump on here, and we'll go 4 up there on the game board. So we moved up here and here. So that's going to be our turn there, and we're going to move the train again. 1, 2. As soon as this train hits this particular space, one of these stars, an event is going to be triggered, and we're going to flip up the top one and see what happens. Now this here means that we have a Cherokee are going to come into play, and it's going to be placed on one of these cactus tiles. Now what's going to happen is these are the Cherokee tokens, and this is going to mean that the space that this is on and the surrounding ones are now protected lands, and we are not allowed to travel there by foot. We can only go by horseback. So we're going to pick one of these to place it. So we'll just place it right here. So that means now that the space next to it here and this space here, nobody can travel to on foot. So it's going to make this a little bit more restricted, is what's going on. Now it's back to the first player's turn here, and we're going to draw back up to 5. Draw back up to 5 cards here. So we can see I have 2 more money bags, I have a wild, and I have this 6. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play this wild as a free action, and I'm going to move the sheriff 1 space. He's a little too close for my liking, so I'm going to move him further away here and keep him at bay so that I make sure that I'm plenty distance from him. So that was a free action that I could do. Another action then is I'm going to jump off of the train again. So what it's going to happen is I will go 1, 2. So I will when I jump off the train, I land in a nearby space. So that's going to put me over here. So I've used 2 spaces, and then I'm going to go 3, and I'll just stay here, 3. And then one of the things that I can choose to do is, if I don't want to do anything else, I can reserve an action by taking a bullet token. So I'm going to do that for my last action and reserve one. It's going to be, that's my 4th one. Train's going to move 2 spaces forward here, like so. And so the next player's turn here, back to the blue player. They're going to draw up to 5 cards again, seeing what they have here. We have 3 of a kind, we have an ace, and we have an 8. And if we look, we do have one thing that we can try to attempt to loot on the train in the back, but that sheriff is awfully close. And so we don't really have anything that we can discard for free actions. So I think we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, and then we will take a bullet token as our 4th action here. And then what's going to happen now is that train is going to continue to move by spaces here, and once it hits this space, it's supposed to be able to pick up some loot tokens from the game board. We didn't have anything returned here yet, so we're going to slip down 1 on this particular noose track over here. back to the back to player number 1, the red player. We're going to draw a card back up to 5, and we drew an ace here. And one of our actions that we're going to choose to do is we're going to jump on the train. So we're going to come onto here as one. Second action, oh actually I'm sorry, we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we can have items down in this town before the sheriff can show up. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to play a card out of my hand to call the horse. So 6, so the horse is going to move 6 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I will get on there and move the 6 here. Or actually we'll just move it 5 and we'll mount there. The other thing that's my first action. Second action I'm going to do is discard another card from my hand to move more spaces. And so I'll move 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll dismount here. It's my second action. And my third action, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop off these loot tokens that I have here. So what I will do then is turn them over. And I'm going to get 1 heist point for each, so I'm going to move that up 2, 1, 2. And I'm going to look and see if there was any particular wanted things that I meet, and there is one right here. It says wanted for being the first to return 2 loot tokens to a town. So now I'm going to turn this over here, and I'm now going to be known as Two-Timing Dave, so all the players have to refer to me as that. And it says if the lettered town you return loot to matches the letter on the loot token, take 1 extra heist point. And so we actually will do that for the next turn, but I did actually have a C here, but I'm not really clear on that, to be honest with you, in the rules, so we'll just let that go from here on out. We will be able to do that. But essentially what's going to happen is I will draw 2 new loot tokens from the loot sack because I returned 2, and these are going to be placed face up here on this particular stack next to the town here. So we've got these passengers here that are waiting to get on the train, and these 2 are going to go back in the loot sack here. And so that was my third action. My fourth, I'm going to remount here. I think now I'm going to stay here. 1, and then I'm going to spend this one here, bullet token, to move 1 more space. So the train is going to move 2 spaces, 1, 2, and we resolve the next event, which means the sheriff is going to move 2 spaces on the train. So what's going to happen is the sheriff is going to go 1, 2 here. Now that's pretty much most of the actions that we can do, other than I could have gone on this space here and flipped this over if I was on it, and that would control where the train is going to go. That would allow it to move around here, which is probably what I should have done, but I didn't. And so we're going to have to, maybe the other player is going to be able to help me out here. So at the start of their turn, they're going to, if they didn't play any cards, they're going to have to draw back up to 5, which we didn't play any cards the last time. And we don't happen to have a 4-card straight here to draw back up. Maybe I should have done something before. I could have discarded cards. But anyways, we're going to use our actions now to go on the train. Go down 1, and our 1, 2. And third action, we're going to loot the train. We're going to discard 3 monies, 3 of those there, and take this particular one here. And the fourth action, we're going to move to the back of the train. And so that's going to be really important there. And then the train is going to move 2 spaces. 1 and then 2. It's going to start moving off of the game board down here. And so it's going to move off here, and it will re-enter up here, and then depending upon this direction, we're going to move around. So we're going to want to make sure that we're planning to have things going on there. Now, one thing that I didn't talk about in terms of our actions is to be able to escape from jail. Now, what's going to happen is if, for example, here, a player was on the train, and I happen to have ended my space there. or even actually here. And this sheriff is going to move 2 spaces, 1, 2. He's going to grab me, and he's going to throw me in jail. A couple different things are going to happen. If I have any loot tokens, they're going to go back in the loot sack. Any of our other cards that we have are going to be discarded, and we get thrown into jail up in the front here of the train. What's going to happen is we are being forced to shovel coal into the engine, and so it's going to increase the speed of the train. So the train speed dial is going to move up to 3. And on our turn, the only thing that we can do then is use heist actions to draw cards from this deck, hoping that we need to get 3 of the keyholes. We have a wild, which we can use. We have another wild, which we can use. And this would be, our third action would be to draw this one. This is a money bag. We can't use it, so we have to discard it. And the fourth one here is another one. We discard it. So we are stuck in that jail. We can hold on to these 2, but as soon as we get one more, then we'll be able to get out of jail, and then we'll be able to draw back up to 5 cards and have all of our other actions. So the more people that are in jail, the faster the train's going to go, to make it more difficult here. That's pretty much going to be how the game is going to flow. We've got this sheriff moving back and forth here. The most important thing is that we have to have more loot tokens at these towns here in order to be able to be picked up. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about here is that this tunnel here, and when we go in the tunnel, there's a couple things that are going to be special. We could actually go in and loot the train car if the sheriff is in there, because it's dark, he won't be able to see us. And if we happen to be on top of the train and the train moves into the tunnel, we essentially are going to have to lie down on our back, and we lose our turn because we can't do anything. We essentially got knocked down and we're stuck, pinned on top of the train. So that's going to be bad. So you're going to have all these different things that are going on. Working through this event deck, different things are going to happen. The sheriff is going to move around the train, work to try and get more reputation, and gathering up all of these different loot tiles and returning them to the towns in an attempt to win the game. And that is how you play Train Heist. Alright, so there you had a taste of Train Heist. And I wanted you to see how the game was played, and a lot of the different mechanics that were in there, a lot of the different interactions and things that happen on the game board there itself. A couple things that I missed. I think that I forgot to mention that if 2 or multiple players, if you're on the same space, you can trade cards with one another, so you can better manipulate your hands and have be able to do things more efficiently. So you can so you're essentially working with everybody's pool of cards. You can trade things back and forth. Obviously, it's an action point to do that, but it's something that you can do. And then the other thing was, when the train passes by one of these towns and the loot tokens are there, on the back side of the cards there's a little letter in the corner, and that's going to correspond to the train car in which that loot token is going to be placed. And so those are the couple things that I missed. Let me talk about this game board here, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And I was fortunate enough to play this game a couple years ago when it was in an earlier prototype form, and that was the one thing, was that the board, I really found it to be really attractive, and I thought it looked great. So artistically, it looks awesome, and I like that there's a lot of information that's on this board, but it doesn't seem jumbled. And we've got multiple things going on. Essentially, it's 2 parts. You've got the big main map here, which is like the big picture, and then you've got the train map. But even in the lower section here in the main map, you even have more information. You have the turn order sequence, and then you also have the card abilities for free actions. And I like how they're placed on the game board, so it's going to eliminate you having to look at the rules or needing to have a player reference card. The information is right there that everybody can see. And then I also like the way that thematically we're keeping track of the number of loot tokens, and using that meter there. It looks like like a tachometer or something like that to move things up, instead of just holding on to the tokens and, oh, we've got 5 of them now, or taking a chip or whatever. I just think it looks good on the board. Now, let me talk about the gameplay, because, man, this game, again, has really come a long way from when I played it, and it just, I love I love the state that this game is in right now, and the key factor for this are these cards and the card playing in here, and being able to use them to perform different actions, discarding the card to move the horse. Um, and then you have to make decisions in this game, especially with the cards. You got to essentially know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and in making sure that you know when to play them. Are you going to hold on to cards in an attempt to loot the train? Are you going to spend them to spend cards to move the horse? Are you going to trade them with other players? Are you going to discard them as a free action for card abilities? So many different choices to do with these cards. The other thing is too is like, are you going to discard any of them at the end of your turn? Is there something that's in your hand that you don't really need? Are you going to get rid of them, so that on your next turn, when you draw back up to 5 cards, that you have a better shot of getting something better? So you've got a lot of things that are a lot of choices to make just with the card play itself, and that doesn't even go into the rest of the game itself. And that is, you have so much that you have to do on this game, and you have to rely on your other players to help you. Otherwise, you're never going to get this done. And this game is going to come down to planning. So, and the biggest part of the planning is knowing where you want to end up at the end of your turn, so that you're in the right spot at the beginning of your next turn. And so that's going to have to do with anticipating where this train is going to go, communicating with the other players to make sure that maybe they're in the right spot, or having somebody on their turn flip one of those switches so that the train is going to go down a certain route. And so that's all of these things are going to come into the factor of making sure that people say, I'm going to do this on my turn, and so that when you're planning, that you can be in the right spot at the right time. And that is going to be key for this game. So planning that and doing that, we have, that way we have quite a bit of control over the game and what we're going to do. And so there's not a lot of luck that's involved in this game here. You're going to have to plan. Things are going to go. The only chaos that's going to come around here really is this event deck. You don't really know what's going to happen, and when you trigger one, things, that's the only thing. You're really not going to know what's going on. You know that if you're playing certain cards, that the sheriff's going to move a certain way, and you can play cards a specific way to manipulate that. So again, everything comes down to planning. Now, so it's really going to be a good challenge for you to think ahead and make some really good decisions. Now, the one thing that I'm not really wild about in this game is the whole aspect of losing a turn. And that happens if you get hit by the train, or you get caught on top of the train as it enters the tunnel. But it works, but I'll talk about it. I mean, when you're playing a game, you want to have everybody engaged. And it really kind of stinks that if something unfortunate happens, that on your next turn, the only thing you can do is stand your guy up, and then you got to wait for everything to come back around, because that's going to throw off everything. Number one, it's going to throw you off for your game, because now you've got to recuperate and rethink about what you're going to do, and it's also essentially letting your team down, because now you can't contribute on that turn. And so it just makes it so it's not a pleasant experience to have that happen. And so I'm not really wild about that. But on the other hand, I can see how it works for this game, because if you don't plan accordingly, if you don't make good decisions, this game will punish you. I mean, if you lose a turn, it could be critical to the outcome of the rest of the game, because maybe somebody was counting on you to do something, and something bad happened. Maybe there was an event that caused the train to speed up, and on your turn you thought maybe you had one space or whatever. But anyways, things can happen. It just goes to show you, though, you didn't plan properly. And so that's one of the strong points in this game, is you have to plan. And so as much as I don't like the fact that you can potentially lose a turn, I like the fact that this game is pushing back at you, and it makes it so that it's not too easy. Because one of the greatest aspects of a cooperative game is that you can't beat it very easily. I like a game that's going to push back and is going to give me a run for my money when I'm playing it and working together with everybody. I want it to be hard. The thing is, a good cooperative game will kick your butt, but you still enjoyed it and you want to play it again. And I think that Train Heist does a good job with that, and I'm really pleased with how this game has turned out. Overall, I think there's a lot of great elements in here. One of the other things I like, the wanted tokens give you the little in-game goals to go after, or things you can pull it off. You get a special name, so that's kind of fun. And then it also gives you an extra ability for the game. And for example, here when I became two-time in Dave, it's also going to lend to the strategies. If the lettered town you return loot to matches the letter on the loot token, take an extra heist point. This is now going to change up how I play the game. If all of a sudden I end up with some loot tokens, if there's two of them that are have C's on them, you darn right that I'm going to try and get over to the town C to drop those off, because I'm going to get additional heist points. It's going to help my team. Now, I'm going to have to convey that information to everybody else, because I need to make sure that other stuff is dropped off at the other towns, or making sure that we can manipulate the train to get to a certain spot. So it's going to be really important. But I like that even these cards change up the game. And so overall, I mean, like I said, I really, really like this game. I am so pleased with how far it has come, and it is really going to be something that's going to be hitting the table a lot here. And so really high praises for Train Heist. I think Sean did a great job in developing this game, and so I am super, super pleased with this, and I want to recommend it. So if this project is currently on Kickstarter, it's something that you can back. I'll have the information in the video description below. You can check that out. If it's something that you want to support, you can go ahead and go on over there and do that. All right, that's it for now, and join me again next time as we take a look at another game and we see how it makes it to the table. Bye-bye.